Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 3. Here are the show notes for today. Going to give you a little bit about myself, tell you a little bit about how I got involved and what I've been doing. We're going to start a new series today. We're not going to do all 40 today, but we're going to look at 40 different ways to collect vintage. And that could be for anything. That could be for any sport, but we're going to focus on baseball. Do some pickups, shout outs, the Hall of Fame of the Very Good, and of course, Veda and Flood. Again, welcome to the Pinson to Flood for the Win channel. And start off and tell you a little bit about me by showing, putting up a few cards, but some interesting cards here. I don't know if anybody's ever seen these. I don't know if these ever been on anywhere on YouTube that I've seen. I'm a motorcycle fan. Fan of motorcycle racing, speedway racing to be exact. These are the top Americans, and these are from I think 1938, and they're basically cigarette cards from England. This is Jack Millen. This is brother Cordy Millen. They were two of the greatest Americans that went over in the 30s, and Jack actually won the national championship. Oh, I'm just knocking things over. This right here is Art Peacher. And this one here is of Sprouts Elder, who's considered the greatest American motorcycle racer of the 20s and 30s. But I've never seen anybody show these. I got these, actually got them from England. Bought them off of a guy there when I was buying something else. And got the 4, but interesting cards. I've never seen anybody ever show them or display them, and thought I'd share them with you to show you there's all kinds of stuff out there. But a little bit about myself. I'm a grandpa of 2. I'm in my 60s. I live in Oregon. I did 10 years of sports talk radio, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Did pre and post game for the Oregon Ducks. I've called baseball, basketball, football, hockey. I'm a member of SABR, Society for Baseball Research. I've probably written in about 10 different books that we've put out. I used to write for Ducks Illustrated, 2 to 3 articles a week. I've probably got anywhere from 300 to 500 published articles and stuff out on the web, just hanging around out there that I've done. Been a sports fan my whole life. My favorite thing to do is get out in the middle of a stream and cast a fly rod. That's actually my favorite thing to do. But I've been collecting cards for years. Actually ran a card shop for just a short period of time in my late 20s, early 30s for a friend of mine. Back during the junk wax era. And by the way, I love that era. I don't care what anybody says. I think I love collecting cards from that era. There's so many good rookies and cards, and I enjoy different sets like the 84, 85, 86 Donruss sets. I think are some of the most beautiful sets ever done. The 88 Score set, because I love color, so I just think that's a beautiful set. I think the 83 Donruss is a nice set. Most of the top sets of that, that era were pretty good. It was just a different time, but I love collecting it. I have no problem collecting and admitting that I like the junk wax era. Show you a couple of my guilty pleasures before we get into the main topic, which is how to, 40 different ways to collect vintage. I love the Topps Now cards. I mean, love them. A lot of these are from, I want to focus. These are from this year's, Dodger run. And, but I love collecting because they tell you about all the events. If somebody gets 300 home runs or 500 home runs or 1,000 hits or gets their first hit. There's Freddie Freeman. But I like collecting a lot of them. It's a guilty pleasure, to be honest with you. And thought I'd share with you too. I started a 62 football set. I was able to pick up about 20 cards. I've always loved this set. I love the black borders. I know a lot of people don't like black borders. I love the black borders. I think there's something about this set. I like the little picture. It's right up here of the player. Johnny Morris was a heck of a player for the Bears. There's Jim Ray Smith, played for Cleveland, played for a number. John Morrow. But I got a stack of these to get started. It's a small set, relatively. I think 176 cards. Look at the old Dallas Cowboys outfits. There's a couple more. There's a Jim Martin of the Detroit Lions. Darius McCord. Most of these are commons, which is a good way to start off if you can, is pick up John Arnett. Heck of a running back for the Rams. Les Richter, linebacker for the Rams. Jerry Reichow, Minnesota Vikings end. I think that year, he caught 50 passes. He was somewhere near the leaderboard, I know on that. Frank Yelso, tackle. But I mean, this is pretty, most of these cards are in really pretty good shape. I bought the lot and I was really surprised by what I found. There's a Ted Dean. I think I picked up this lot for about less than $1 a card. Prentice Gott, good running back for the 49ers. There's Tommy Davis, kicker punter. Bill Anderson. Fred Duggan. And the last one is John Avini. So that's the start of the 62 set. I'm going to be working on that probably over the next year. It's not something you complete in a matter of, a couple months. It's really hard to do. But I wanted to look at especially one special way that I look at collecting vintage, because there's so many ways and people sometimes don't even know where to go. I mean, there's traditional, which is, putting a set together. That's probably the most basic thing that people do when collecting vintage. There's not as many set builders going on today as there used to be. That was a thing we always did when we were younger, is you bought the cards, put a set together. The other thing to do that most people are doing today is the player run. You simply just put every card. This is Veda Pinson. Just kind of the start of his player for 63, 64, 65. But that's what a lot of people do, is just you start the player run, right? So that's two ways to collect vintage. The third way is collecting stuff inside the set. So one of the things you can do is collect the team cards. There's the Senators from 65. Oh man, why won't this focus? It's the 57 Giants. Here's the 71 of the Senators. Some 70s. I like collecting that kind of stuff. You can pick it up really cheap. It's a way to collect differently, because I'm not a set collector. I do a few player runs, but I like collecting excuse me, the other things that are in it. You can collect the team sets. Like here's one from 69 I'm working on, which is the Pilots. Trying to collect all the pilot cards. Marty Patton, John Kennedy, rookie card of Fuentes and Bainey, Mike Egan, Danny Walton. So collecting a team, is another way to do it. The fifth way is collecting the combo cards or the subsets. These I just love. Anytime you can, I think the combo cards are phenomenal, right? You saw these, I showed these on another one of the shows. Here we go. These are all from 69. For some reason, the TED doesn't want to focus. Birdie Hill. But that's another way. That's just, again, there are endless ways to collect. The other one is collecting manager and coaches cards. You can pick these up really, really inexpensive. And, you know, I like collecting manager cards. I think they get, you know, there's a Yogi Berra from 82, another Yogi. Ralph Hawk from 68, great Yankee manager. Ralph Hawk from 1970. So that's 6 ways right there that you can collect vintage. But what I really want to show you is my favorite way to collect vintage. And I'm going to show you this because this is going to be available to anybody that watches this show if you want this. Is I collect decade by war of teams. So like what I did is I put together all the players, you can tell by year, you can see them by year, and their war numbers at each position. And then whoever had the most is the player I collect, one at each position. You know, the outfield, you can do 3 or 4 depending on, there might be 4 people that you want to do. For me, this is the 1950-59 Philadelphia Kansas City Athletics. So Hal Smith had the most war for a catcher. Didn't have great catching. Look at them all. The best one's 1.9. At first base was Ferris Fame with a 12.8. Vic Power was a backup. He had 7.8, but I put him at utility. Eddie Yost, shortstop, 13.9. And just down the line, there's the third baseman, Finnegan, with Hector Lopez at second. The outfield was Roger Maris, Bob Cerv, Gus Zernio, and Elmer Vallo. And then the pitching. And what you do is then you collect this team. And, you know, if you collect the really good teams, there's going to be a lot of, probably some high dollar cards. But I just picked up the Roger Maris for $30. I picked up a 59. It's probably a 2 or a 3 if I was to get it graded. But I'm getting close to completing this, so I thought I'd bring it out and kind of just show you the cards and why this is so fun, because you get these cards of a lot of players that you don't know, and a lot of people that are like, you know, what my channel is all about, the Hall of the Very Good. But it also introduces you to new players that you can learn about and read about. There's Elmer Vallo. Gus Zernio, I think, was 9th or 10th in the 50s for home runs. He had over 200 home runs there. Virgil Trucks. There's Arnold. There's Tom Gorman, Bud Daly, Alex Kellner. Just putting, you know, I have a couple Alex Kellners, another Virgil Trucks. But you get to learn about players, and you it's just a fun way to collect. I'm actually working on the 60 to 69 Dodgers, and I'm also working on the 60 to 69 Indians. I'm working on 3 different ones. But if anybody wants these sheets, I have them for every team of the 50s and 60s. If I don't have it, it only takes me about an hour to put it together. And if you want it, it just comes in an Excel form or a Google Sheets form. I can send it to you and you can start collecting away. But I think this is one of the funnest ways to collect vintage that I haven't seen anybody talk about, is collecting a decade and a team by war. I haven't done the 70s yet because I just basically working on the 50s and 60s, but you get to collect a lot of these cards really are $2 and $3 cards that I picked up. Even the 54 Gus Zernio, I picked that up for $4. You know, you can find deals, and the only expensive card in this whole thing that was anything was the Roger Maris, and I just waited until I found a deal and picked one up for $30 that looked good enough for me. So this is a way I would really encourage a lot of people to collect vintage, where you would learn about other players, you have fun, you build a team, and put it together. And I have really had a lot of fun doing this. But these sheets are available. Just in the comment, you can ask for more than one too. Don't be shy. If you want to, if there's a couple teams you want to do, just let me know, and I'll let you know, and I'll send it along. But I think this is a great way to collect. I thoroughly enjoy this. I'm about halfway through the Dodgers because I still got to pick up a Koufax and a couple other cards, but for the most part, I've picked up the Drysdale, and and again, it's not always, you're surprised by who ends up having the most WAR at a position. Like you think it would be so and so, but Roger Maris barely made this team. The only reason he did is his 2 years were really pretty good. I mean, he only has a 4.2 WAR, and Gus Zernial and Valo and Serve all were above him, but they also played for the bulk of the 50s. He only played, Maris only played 2 years. So I included him because I wanted to collect a card of his, but I used him as the fourth outfielder. And you can design this really any way you want. If you want to have 2 utility players, I usually go with 5 starters, maybe 3 relievers, and categorize somebody as a closer. But you can kind of do whatever you want, but it gives you an idea, and it shows you exactly the WAR year by year of every position. And I just would write it in that way. So let me know if you're interested in any of these. Any team, just let me know and I'll make sure it happens. Let's see, a couple I'm just going to show you some. These pickups might not be really impressive to anybody, but I like collecting when I get like lots of late 50s or early 60s or mid 60s stuff, because I like a lot of players, because I'm all about the Hall of the Very Good. So I like collecting average players. Like Gates Brown was a really good pinch hitter. I think he's 3rd all time in pinch hits. Bob Buell was part of that 57, Milwaukee team that just had really great pitching that went into the World Series. He did not pitch well in the World Series, but he was 18-7 in 57. George Foster put together, let's get it up here. Oh, he's just not going to focus. Come on, why aren't you going to focus? He put together a nice run of over 30 home runs, like 5 years in a row. Frank Malzone, really good third baseman for the Red Sox. Carl Furillo, just a terrific player for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Mickey Vernon, just a really good shortstop and first baseman for the Senators, ended his career with Cleveland. Billy Goodman in the 50s was outstanding, had a really nice career. Bob Cerv, who we just talked about with the Kansas City, hit 38 home runs in 1958. 1958? Yeah, 1958. Jerry Lynch, part of that 61 Reds team that shocked everybody and made it to the World Series. He was one of the outfielders that platooned out there and had a nice career. Dave Philly played about 15 years. Again, another really good. All these cards you're looking at, I picked up for between $1 and $2. Sam Jones, one of the Black Aces. If you don't know about the Black Aces, there's 15 pitchers that are black that have won 20 games. And it was part of a book that Jim Grant wrote. Sam Jones is one of those. Irv Noren had a nice 12, 15-year career. Played for the Yankees, played for St. Louis. Bill Henry was part of that 61 Cincinnati team. Was a really good reliever. And I like collecting the rookies. I just like collecting these early Sporting News or Sport Magazine ones. Just think they're just iconic. But that's just some of the pickups of the week. I think this lot might have cost me $15 or something. And it's got everything, a lot of stuff that I like. 2 channel shout outs. Brutus on Baseball. Great show. Really like his take on the Hall of Fame. He just did a couple of days ago. And a local guy to me up in Washington, Bader's Hobby Life. Really like watching Bader. He puts sets together of all the 50s and 60s, and he's got some beautiful stuff and just a really nice show to watch. If you haven't heard of him, go out and check him out, please, because I think he's got a nice show, a show that I really enjoy. I show you almost every show. Show you another card of somebody at the bat rack. This time it's Dale Unser from the 1970 set. I collect these cards. There's a lot of them started happening late in the 60s, but in the early 70s, seems like Topps really got into it. 70, 71, 72, there must be 30 of them just from that. I'd like to show a couple Couple Flood, couple Pinson cards. This is from 70, his last two cards, 70 and 71. And then two coaching cards of Vada Pinson when he was with the Mariners and the White Sox. And those are the last, he might have one more card after this. I can't remember if he does or not. And then the, let's see, I can't remember what I was going to do for the, I don't have a card for the Hall of the Very Good today. So I'll hit you up for two of them on next show. But again, if you want any of those sheets on collecting vintage, on putting together teams based on WAR by the decade, please reach out. Let me know. I have no problem sending them out. I'll put it in the mail the next day and get it out to you, and you can start collecting. I think it's a great way to collect. And we'll see you again. Thanks for tuning in to Pinson to Flood for the win, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for sticking around and watching.